afternoon.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-294-0222. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-294-0222. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-294-0222. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
T-minus 3, 2, 1, blast. Trash Panda Nation, ignite the fun, let's rock it.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas are back from the All-Star break for a 6-game homestand July 29th through August 3rd. The homestand includes post-game fireworks for Space Night on the 1st, plus things get Jurassic for Dinosaur Weekend on the 2nd and 3rd. Get your tickets for the entire homestand now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
There's a lot of talk these days about who's the biggest. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. Bigger doesn't equal better.
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. We know we're not the biggest. We don't want to be.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're big enough to handle your case and get you the help you need,
but small enough to welcome you, where you're never just a number. You're part of our family.
The Lackey Law Firm, 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event at Woody Anderson Ford. Hey folks, Bobby White back again, and I'm here to tell you now is the time to get the Ford you've been thinking about. From 0-down leases to 0% financing, we've got it going on this summer. Woody Anderson Ford has financing as low as 0% for 48 months, plus 0 down payment, plus 0 payments for 90 days, plus 2-year 25,000-mile complimentary maintenance. You can choose a 2025 Escape, F-150, Explorer, or a Mustang. Or how about 0 down lease? $499 a month for a 2025 Explorer, F-150, or Bronco. And just $399 a month for Bronco Sport, Mustang, and Escape. Again, these are 0 down with complimentary maintenance too. This is a 36-month lease with 0 down, 0 security deposit, just tax, tag, title, and your good credit. These offers end 9/2/25. It's our Woody Anderson Ford Summer Sales Event. So hurry on down. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. In Hampton Cove and our latest location, now open in New Market on Winchester Road.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
The Tom Abraham Show, weekdays beginning at noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone and WZZN TV. WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
It is indeed a Thursday here on The Drive, and we have got a lot to get to and a lot of guests to get to as well. Coach Houston Nutt is going to join us at the top of the 6 o'clock hour. Dan Wetzel going to join us in 15 minutes' time. How are you, Wes Neighbors?
I'm doing great. Had a busy day, that's for sure.
Well, it sounds like the president had a busy day, too.
It's every day.
The president of the United States. We spoke about this with Chris Lowe last week. A pretty long conversation with Chris. And indeed, an executive order has been signed. And the thumbnail version of it, this is from the Associated Press, sign an executive order. It will prohibit third-party pay-for-play payments and directs the Secretary of Labor and the National Labor Relations Board to clarify that athletes are amateurs and not employees. This release from the White House.
So I don't know how can you be an amateur? I guess the same way they define amateurs in the Olympic model, which is, I'm saying, the model they should have used from the get-go.
That's right.
What I think we're supposed to. The collectives are gone, and I think that's a good thing. And I kind of predicted that a couple of months ago, that I didn't see any way that they could say with that model and have guardrails up.
We'll talk more about this with Dan Wetzel in 15 minutes' time.
But there's absolutely a lot of colleges right now still going to stay up late and try to figure out what they have and what they don't, because it's going to change a lot of things. And, it's I didn't think they'd be able to unwind out of this. And I'm not sure they're still going to be able to.
Yeah.
But if this order holds, they're going to have to. You're 100%.
A few other things. ACC Media Days wrapped up today. Dabo Swinney and Bill Belichick were at the podium. Maybe so. And if if you've listened to this program, I enjoy a good Bill Belichick press conference, and because he is sneaky funny. This is by far. I mean, if you listen to it closely.
It's the same way the Emperor from Star Wars is sneaky funny, right?
Yeah. So here you go. This is a little Q&A.
Coach, left side towards the left. Sir, if you'll
left side towards the left. Got it.
Left side.
He's asked about Dabo, but just that setup, I mean, it just got me. It really did.
Coach, left side towards the left. Sir, if you'll
left side towards the left. Got it.
Left side.
Hey, Coach, this is Grace Man with TigerNet.com. Talking to Dabo Swinney earlier, you said how much.
Anyway, he goes into his relationship about that, just how that is set up. It is Dabo did talk to the media as well. And there was one shot towards LSU. This is a question towards Peter Woods about, and by the way, that no questions to Dabo about LSU. So evidently it's not that big of a deal in ACC world where LSU is going to Clemson.
Hey, Peter, Davon Nixon, Fox Sports Radio, Charlotte. With you guys opening against LSU and the SEC bragging about being more physical than other conferences and the game starting in the trenches, what's the mental preparation going into the game and even during when you're going against an opponent that really tries to out-physical you and even out-psych you?
Much like Kay said, just put your head down and do the work. I mean, it's football. I don't think it's an opponent that we're going against that's not going to try to out-physical us. We just got to be confident in the work that we put in this offseason. And I've said it like probably 50 times today that you only get to play 16 days. So you really maybe at max get to play 16. That's the national championship is 16. So the other 349 days, you got to figure out what it is that you have to do to get better and just really how much you're willing to work to get the results you want. And I feel like our result is going to show based on how we work.
That is Peter Woods.
Peter Woods, of course, from Thompson High School, and
that's
sent
exactly
Drew
right.
into a rant, wanting to fire everybody at university when he went. A couple of years ago. He's been an up and down player, though. I think he's been really good at times. Last year, I thought he was too heavy. Didn't have the quite pass rush he had the year before, in my opinion. He might have been hurt too. You don't know, but I don't think he has been as successful as we thought he would be. He's been really good at times, but hadn't been consistent.
We'll see. I love the wording of the question as well. But we've got some in-studio guests right out of the gate, and I realize I did not get a chance to take a tour.
So I took the tour.
Did.
Yeah. So
Nexus on Homes.
Yeah, Nexus on Homes is a developing, and these guys can tell you more about it. But it's absolutely.
You want to introduce our guy?
Yeah. So we have I want to talk a little bit about the property because to me it reminds me of Bryant Hall, but newer and nicer. And that's saying a lot. And there's nothing like it that I've seen on the university campus. And a UAH, the proximity, it's right next to one of the best workout facilities there are.
Yeah, the fitness center.
All the amenities you have is an amazing property. And the deals they have going on right now are incredible. And so, talk a little bit about the campus and the Capstone Group, I guess, is who built it, and what y'all have looking forward.
Sure.
So there was y'all have a lot of cool things. I think athletes are thinking about moving in there right now as well.
Yeah. Well, Wes, thank you very much for having us and giving us this opportunity, and Steve, and I know you guys have a great relationship with UAH and
absolutely
cover all of their sports activities. But our company, Capstone Development Partners, based in Birmingham, we have a Denver office. We develop student housing all across the country. Some projects are near the campus. More of our projects are on the campus, developed in public-private partnerships with universities. But what we're trying to do is provide quality facilities, well-designed for the student in mind, furnished. A student can move in on one day, unpack their clothes and their linens, and have a full furnished apartment to live in for the entire year. They can have roommates, as many as they want. We've got 4-bedroom units, 2-bedroom units, 1-bedroom units. Our location, as Wes said, is just incomparable, adjacent to the campus. You can walk from our Nexus community to the heart of the campus to your classes in 5 or 10 minutes. We've got amenities, including pool, workout facilities, game rooms, anything the student could want, but also study rooms, group study rooms, so that they can focus on their activities. But Nexus on Homes is the first truly purpose-built student housing developed in Huntsville to serve the UAH market, and we're really excited about delivering this product.
And it's absolutely beautiful.
Well, I mean, please give us. I hear there's also gaming rooms as well in this facility.
Gaming rooms, foosball, shuffleboard, just about anything you could want. And the units, I think, are what distinguish this community, because if you want to live by yourself, you can in a 1-bedroom. If you've got a single roommate that you want to room with, you've got a 2-bedroom option. And then if you've got a few roommates, friends that you want to kind of live with, you've got a 4-bedroom option, with everybody having a personal bedroom as well as their own private bathroom in an apartment that's got.
I didn't have a personal bedroom.
No, not many of us did back in the day.
Washer and dryer.
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
Washer, dryer, fully equipped kitchen. And we rent by the bed, so you don't have to have all 4 of your roommates come in and lease, immediately. You can lease a bedroom yourself and then recruit roommates to join you. Your parents don't have to guarantee any of the rent other than, for your portion, your 25% or 50% in a 2-bedroom. It's just a very comfortable place to live, and you're with like-minded people at a similar station in life. You're not living in a broad apartment community that might have everybody from a 20-year-old to a 55-year-old. You're with your peers who are going through the same stage of life that you are in college, and it's a very socially enjoyable environment.
Did I hear something about specials going on right now too?
Yeah, my partner Joey Azar can talk a little bit about where we are in terms of rental specials, but as we get into the start of the fall semester, we're trying to give folks a real incentive to come lease from
Sure.
us.
Yeah, no, right now we have some great specials going. It's 12-month leases, but today we're running, actually for the short term, we're running 2 months free. So 2 months worth of concessions over a 12-month lease. And as Jeff said, these are rent by the bed. So for a 4-bedroom, our rate is $779. So that's $779, and you can get yourself a bedroom. 12-month lease, 2 months free. For a 2-bedroom, it's $889, and then for a 1-bedroom solo, it's $1050. Still with that 2 months free option.
Okay, and it's Nexus on Huntsville is the website as well.
Nexus on Homes.
I'm sorry, Nexus on Homes.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Nexus on Homes, and we're just super excited to be next door to campus and help enhance the vibrancy and campus life of that university.
I tell you, that campus has really grown up.
They're literally 10 feet from the
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's not on campus, but you can't be any closer without going over.
Yeah.
I think they've solved something that has
right
been
by
troubling
the
me for
workout
years.
facility as well.
You guys have finally solved the problem. I still have roommates from college that still owe me money. And you have solved that problem by just renting your bed space and not be responsible for your knucklehead roommates, because you don't make the best friends when you're in college sometimes. Ask me how I know. But you've solved that problem by not having everybody on the hook for you and your roommates not paying the rent.
In fact, if you go to Nexus on Homes, there is a splash page right up front that tells you the special of 2 months free when you sign a 12-month lease. Again, it's Nexus on Homes, not what I said earlier. So Nexus on Homes. Guys, I can't thank you enough for the time and swinging on by. And I tell you, the campus keeps growing up and growing up. I've been a part of UAH for 2 decades and growing, and it's pretty cool to see y'all's involvement as well. So thank you for that.
This is going to be a really nice addition to the already impressive campus. It's such an impressive institution, and the quality of the students that are being attracted to UAH and the graduates that UAH is producing is very impressive. And we, like you, look forward to supporting the university and its athletic department and programs, because we believe in the value of athletics, and we hope to have a lot of student athletes living in our community.
Absolutely. Appreciate the time, sir. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. Dan Wetzel set to join us on the other side. Thursday edition of The Drive. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event at Woody Anderson Ford. Hey folks, Bobby White back again, and I'm here to tell you now is the time to get the Ford you've been thinking about. From 0 down leases to 0% financing, we've got it going on this summer. Woody Anderson Ford has financing as low as 0% for 48 months, plus 0 down payment, plus 0 payments for 90 days, plus 2-year 25,000-mile complimentary maintenance. You can choose a 2025 Escape, F-150, Explorer, or a Mustang. Or how about 0 down lease, $499 a month for a 2025 Explorer, F-150, or Bronco, and just $399 a month for Bronco Sport, Mustang, and Escape. Again, these are 0 down with complimentary maintenance too. This is a 36-month lease with 0 down, 0 security deposit, just tax, tag, title, and your good credit. These offers end 9/2/25. It's our Woody Anderson Ford Summer Sales Event, so hurry on down. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window Company. When it comes to replacement windows, exterior doors, or new window screens, Your Home Window is the answer anywhere in Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, or Hartselle. Your Home Window windows and doors are made here in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. When replacing those old windows or doors, Your Home Window has the solution for you. In-home estimates are always free and financing is available. Learn more at yourhomewindow.com and see clearly with Your Home Window. Visit yourhomewindow.com to make an appointment today.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyandersonford.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Houston Nutt going to join us at the top of the hour. Talk a little college football there with Coach Nutt. And it's always fun to talk some college football. Goodness gracious. So following the Twitter account of our next guest, I'm trying to figure out how to tie in a Chuck E. Cheese reference with the executive order with Dan Wetzel, who's kind enough to join us. You want to tie that in together for me, Dan?
Listen, never discuss politics, religion, or Chuck E. Cheese in polite company. That was great. So, I'm just a humble college football reporter, guys.
I missed you in Atlanta last week. Where were you?
Yeah, I didn't go. I'm hit or miss on these things. Some years I go, and then I go, why am I here? I don't go, and then I go, why aren't I there?
Yeah.
So this year, you can watch.
Yeah,
watch on TV. I don't get to visit with you guys.
That's exactly the point right there. That's why I didn't realize I did not reach out to the Trump administration earlier today to make sure I'd get you on, but it just kind of landed that way.
Yeah.
Your take on the executive order is what, sir?
All right, so I've read it a couple times. I don't know what it does, and I'm willing to be told what that is, but I've been reaching out to some smart people. The only thing that seems immediately, actionable is athletic departments over $150 million budget have to increase the number of scholarships for the next year in non-revenue and women's sports. Between 50 and 150 million, you can't cut any. Okay. So those two things that's like a clear thing, right?
Yeah.
Action. Not we should form a group and study on how we could preserve something. Like, okay, well, that's fine, but that doesn't do anything. Other than that, says you can't do pay for play, which is already under the House settlement and under NCAA rules. But you can allow for whatever they're calling it, real NIL, if you will.
Yes, real NIL.
Which they just said includes collectives, right? Just this week.
That's right.
So so that seems like the exact same rule we already had. So that one's not like I don't get what that was about. And I understand, I just don't know. Maybe I'm like misreading it, and there's a trick in there.
Yeah.
Or there's something that says, but it says you can't do pay for play. Okay, but you can do real NIL. But then, which I think is reasonable, right? Okay, Caitlin Clark, make your State Farm commercial, right? But then they say, but then we've just said collectives are real NIL. They are real business opportunities because how do you?
Well, because if there's no, like some of these NILs are just paying players, they're not doing anything, and it has to be market. Like it has to be a market. Well, I understand the way they're going to force it is it has to be a real market number. In other words, they can't pay some guy $800,000 out of a collective, and there's no advertising. I guess he wouldn't have. I'm trying to the worth of an advertising. They're going to the same way they gave the numbers in the settlement where you had this was your marketing number.
Right.
They'll have marketing numbers for everybody that are based on what their marketing value is.
Right. So that was what they were trying to do with the house settlement, right?
Right. Well, that's what they did do.
We're working through this.
Yeah.
We're working through this, right? I could be again. I could be missing this. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
What I think
this week they redid the house settlement. So the NCAA or the conferences and the plaintiffs in the house case, because they're about to get sued by the collectives, who were saying you can't say we're not legitimate because there's weird things, right? Okay, let's do this. Imagine you go to Taylor Swift's coming to town, right? And you pay extra to do a meet and greet with Taylor Swift, and that's probably going to cost a lot, right?
Probably
$10,000. I don't know what the number is.
Yeah. Well, whatever Travis Kelce is charging.
Right. So the collectors are saying, well, how can you say that isn't accurate also for how can you that type of an example? Well, it doesn't cost. There's no market value and you're going to pay $10,000 or $50,000 to meet somebody and pose for one picture. Well, they do it.
Well, yeah, for her, but they're not going for Bob. For Bob, that nobody knows. That's what the deal, right?
I get it. You get it. We all get it until you get in front of the Antitrust Act and you go, how can you do that?
Yeah.
So they've already just this week the House case, the CSC and the NCAA, all the college people, and then all the collectives, which they had just created. The college people created, of course, but now they don't want. But now they do want, and the plaintiffs all agreed that would be allowed. The collectives can go on. So what Trump's executive order seems to be would still leave that wide open. I guess I just don't see the actionable. If the thing said scholarship room and board and $500, you go, okay, now that's like an actionable thing. It's very nebulous, and I don't know that it's any different than what we already have. It's just we're not calling it pay for play. We're calling it because the House settlement lasted like 13 days, and then they already gave up. And so we're going right back to collectives being able to do whatever they wanted. And the way I read this thing, it does not suggest that that's going to be any different. So on that front, I don't think anything changes. And that is even before someone sues.
Well, yeah,
you can do executive orders that don't necessarily stand up, right?
Right. So when I look at this, though, what I read was that in the executive order, and I have not read the order, but what I read is the announcement is Trump, through executive order, cancels all collectives. So what you're saying is that's not the case.
Well, I don't know how. It doesn't say that.
He said by, but it says by
third party.
Third party.
Yeah,
that would be a
third
collective,
party,
right?
Unless it is legitimate NIL.
That's right.
Well, collectives are not legitimate NIL.
Except earlier this week, everyone agreed they are legitimate NIL. That happened like on Monday, right? Now, again, help me.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah, I think I read that. I want to say late Sunday. Yeah.
So they did say collectives are legitimate NIL.
Because they are now inside the umbrella of the universities.
Right.
So that what is making them legitimate. But the way that this Associated Press,
this may have hit bigger a week ago than it does now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is classic college athletics.
Well put. That is well put.
Sorry. Like, wait, what happened? I don't know, man. All I know is Cal and Stanford are in the ACC. Don't ask. Don't ask what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't. Other than the scholarship, I'm just saying, like the actionable. It's not like all of a sudden, I don't know, Jeremiah Smith's not getting his money to Ohio State. Like, that's it. We're pulling the check. It doesn't suggest that, and it seems to be very open to a lawsuit. And it
isn't open to a lawsuit.
The lawsuit would be even strengthened by the fact that you all agreed we were legitimate 2 days before this order. That would be. I'm not a lawyer. And the third thing is, I always go back to this: the most powerful person in college athletics is not Donald Trump, and it's not Baker, and it's not Sankey, and it's not Batiti. It's Brett Kavanaugh at the Supreme Court, because eventually it's all going to go to him. He's the one that's fired up about all this stuff. And if you read his writings on this and past stuff, he's 100% behind the Antitrust Act, as probably he should be. And so he's sitting there going, no, you're not limiting. You can't say Taylor Swift gets $10,000 at a signature, but Jeremiah Smith can't get anything. And that's, I think, not that he's ruled on that, but at the end of the day, this seems pretty open. But there's not a got you, like, stop the presses, block the dam, fire the Patriot missile thing. That's not what I see in there. The actionable stuff was, look, if you're Alabama, you got to give more scholarships now. That's what that thing says. There's like that, and I'm sure they're.
And it's not as if the SCORE Act is squashed as well. That is still set to hit the floor. And the fact that a sitting president is wanting to get involved, even if there's not a whole lot of teeth in this, I think still helps in that regard.
I would think, yeah, I mean, look, he's going to, anytime a president throws his weight behind any piece of legislation, that would normally be a good thing. Particularly when he's got the party of power. The hard part is in the Senate on that. Again, it's tricky. You also have all these states coming up, states that support Trump, voted for Trump or didn't.
Yeah.
That literally put rules out saying NCAA can't do it, CSC can't do anything, no one can do that. So you need a federal law to offset these state laws. It's not universal that everyone wants to just. I mean, I think what Trump is trying to do here was a huge favor for the NCAA. But there's a lot of people that aren't in favor of that either. So it's very complicated. And so, again, by tomorrow, this may be a lot clearer. I read it twice, and I just don't see anything actionable. I see, look, they're politicians. Hey, we solved it. We solved it. We saved it. We did all this. And I'm like, I don't know that we got anywhere here.
See, when I texted you this morning, I wanted to dive into the relationship between the SEC and the Big Ten, because we were down at the beach when shots were fired, and I was waiting to hear from Tony Petitti, and it took him a minute to speak. And
he didn't talk.
I was surprised how quiet he was until really Big Ten media days this week. But boy, he has just. If there's one person that can keep this at 12, is it Tony Petitti?
He's doing a heck of a job doing it. So 2 things on Petitti. Petitti doesn't do interviews. He did Joel Klatt, like Fox.
That's right.
Joel's great job, great broadcaster and all that. But he did that interview, that was it, and then he doesn't. And then he comes out and gives a speech once. I don't like that. Even if I agree with everything Tony Didi had to say, I credit Greg Sankey, Jim Phillips, Brett Yormark. Your job here, you're not running General Motors and you come out at when you release your stock earnings or, your earnings report. This is a public trust. Like for us, for the people listening, for lots of other people, this is like life. This is a huge part of our life that you control how it operates. And I think you should be front facing and talking to the fans and the public through the media all the time. And I give all the respect for Greg Sankey. He'd come out and Phillips, all these guys, all the other conferences, I can be like, I disagree with that. I like that, but at least they're telling you what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I don't like the behind the scenes stuff. It's like you don't own this. Like, you don't own this. The NFL owners, they actually own it. You don't own college athletics. It means a lot to a lot of us, and I want to know, what is this plan? So he did finally come out. I don't think this plan I don't like the plan, personally. I don't think it makes any sense.
I don't know who does other than him and maybe his university presidents. I mean,
Fox.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
But, yeah, we're basically going to we're going to take this playoff and make it essentially, if you look at the way you do these play-in games, and a play-in game is part of the playoff, right? They have a play-in round in baseball. You make the postseason.
That's right.
Whatever you want to do. You win, you keep going. It's now a 22-team playoff at least, if not more. It could go to 28 if the way you calculate it. And so in effort for the Big Ten to be able to play their third-place team against their sixth-place team and their fourth-place team against their fifth-place team and have a triple header on Championship Saturday, which will not get massive ratings because it'll be bumped up against everyone else's triple header.
Yep.
Okay? So for those two games, he wants to expand the playoff basically to 22 to 2018 and have us and argue that a team like Iowa last year that went 6-3 in the Big Ten, went 8-4 overall, lost to 5-7 Michigan State, 5-7 UCLA, didn't have a good non-conference win, didn't beat the best team they beat was an 8-win Minnesota team, should be in the playoffs because he wants two more games. That is a dramatic change in the way the sport is played. It dramatically changes what non-conference games would be, whether people would even schedule them, what are the stakes. Dramatic altering for two games. And so I don't think anybody likes it. And now he's trying to, this part I don't understand. He's strong-arming the SEC, saying, well, you guys got to go to 9 games now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking the SEC's not going to go to 9 games because the Big Ten told them to.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, but 8-4, that's a good record. I mean,
it's a good record in pro sports. Well, in the NFL, you have to, all your games are against the other good teams. The Chiefs don't get to play Troy and Ball State. Like, I was like, does he even follow college sports?
I thought it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever heard. Listen to him on the honest. I was like, this guy is from Mars.
Well, there was one question. There was a guy from Bucknuts that asked him, and I honestly thought it was a gotcha question of him rolling through that 8-4 scenario, and to hear him kind of talk in circles, I don't see how he can't hear it. I
think he comes from it's the pro sports mentality. He's not from college. It's baseball expanded, and I get his point. Yeah, 66% winning percentage is good in pro sports. That's pro sports. It's not college sports.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this idea that if you just happen to play 9 quote unquote conference games, it's more impressive than if you play 8 somewhere else. Well, you could play 14 conference games in the MAC, and I'm not going to be that impressed. I mean, there's just an arbitrary number. The Big Ten has far more teams that are non-competitive in a given year. You can argue the top is even at this point. Certainly, they've won the last 2 national championships.
They have.
You can argue the top third is the same. Even if you want to go halfway, I'm not sure I would do that. But you cannot argue that the bottom half of the Big Ten and the bottom half of the SEC are equal. They just aren't. I live in Detroit, Michigan. I live outside Detroit, Michigan. I'm calling from here saying, are you kidding me? There are not good teams in the Big Ten. There's always one or two not good teams in the SEC, but that's it. For the most part of your 16 teams in the SEC, 12 of them are legit teams.
Yeah.
In a given year, and that is not the case in the Big Ten.
Well, we saw it even last year. Mississippi State goes to Arizona State and plays them within a touchdown, and Mississippi State was awful. It just,
and you get that. You get that team like a Mississippi State's going through transitions and whatever, right? It isn't working out right now. They'll be, hopefully they'll be back. They've been a good program.
They have.
You have teams in the Big Ten that are never good.
So this meeting in August, and I know it's big in terms of if we are going to jump to a 16, do all the commissioners have to agree, or is it a majority? I don't know that answer. Do you?
Just the two big dogs. It's just
really?
Sankey and Patini.
So
they can jam it through. Now, are they? Sankey talks way more diplomatically, and I was, again, I don't agree with some of the stuff Greg Sankey comes up with. I don't agree with the stuff Jim Phillips says or this all the time, but I trust those guys have been in college sports for years, and they've shown a willingness to do what's best for college sports. Not always just like, hey, let's just do, what scares me is like Kevin Warren comes into the Big Ten and all of a sudden they start expanding and then he heads back to the NFL. And it's like, oh yeah, like it's a resume point, right?
Yeah.
Instead of looking and saying, how is this going to affect this league for the next 20 years, 30 years? And so I'm always nervous about these guys, but would Sankey just sit there and say, well, screw everybody, we're doing what's best? I don't know that he would. He's never shown that in the past.
So
he runs his league with aggressiveness.
Well, I will tell you, Dan, I will tell you, at least down at the beach for the spring meetings, there was a couple of times it gave a little pause about for the good of the game and the good of the game and the good and then then he paused and he said, at some point I need to worry about my conference and not just the good of the game. And that's the first time I've heard him say that.
Yeah, and I think because he's gotten tired of getting lectured. He has a long track record of doing what's good of the game. Like I said, I'm not here to blow smoke for anybody or pump anyone's tires, but you have to look at the track record, and I think Sankey's done a good job on that. But on this, if these two decide they want that, now to me, I like 12.
I do too.
I like 12 teams.
Yeah,
and I'd like at the very least, I wrote this on ESPN. Let this cook. Let's see. Give it 3 years. Give it 4 years. Let's see, and then say it's not working. They wanted to expand to 16 before it even did 12. I like that. Okay, the Miami Hurricanes last year were a really good team. And they went late in the year, and they lost to Syracuse. They ended up 10-2, and they didn't get in the playoffs.
They stumbled at the end. I mean, they didn't play their best ball at the end.
And they didn't get in.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It shouldn't be easy.
Well, I think they want to go to 16 because of the money. 100%. That's why I think I think 8. I like 8. I don't like 12.
Well, they're not 8s.
Well, they're not going to do it. That don't mean I got to like it.
I know.
I think, what I like about college football is you do have to be better than an NFL team. Mm-hmm. You can't take games off.
Yeah.
And every game matters. And so, but I think they're going to 16. I think they have to go to 16 to make it because of all the money they're having to pay the players, the coaches. I do think it's helped the longevity, excuse me, of the longevity and longevity of the.
You all right over there?
Yeah, kind of. So of the college head coaches, right? I don't think Billy Napier's there if they didn't have to pay out his buyout, right? Because they got to pay NIL money now.
Right, they're on the money.
Yeah,
Lagway helps too.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lagway helps, but what's his record since he's been at Florida? They fired everybody else in 3 years.
They sure did.
There's not a ton of money though at 16. It's not like there's this massive windfall.
But aren't they supposed to redo their? Isn't everything supposed to be redone in 2 years?
I don't think it's a TV deal.
I think there is
there is 7 years, and I don't think they have to pay more for more games. I mean, you get revenue, and
yeah. But that December 1st date, I know is only for the 26th season, but it can just be for the 26th season. And then, we can have this discussion lovely every year from.
Let's do it. Good content, boys.
You got
a talk radio show. You need this content.
Yeah. I'm starting to buy more and more into the Zen Master. That is Lane Kiffin, who said, no automatic qualifiers, just give me the best 12 or 16.
I think, if you get to 16, you could do that for sure. Because, my only thing has always been I want a path for the group of 5 schools. I think college football is better with everybody having a flicker of hope.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that. But let me say this.
One little spot. But generally speaking, if you're any good, like Boise State last year would have been in the top 16, right? If Memphis has a great year or Tulane has great, they're going to be in that top 6. So you're getting pretty close to that. I always want that one thing because I was at Mid-American Conference Media Days, okay? And it's like the chances of them making a playoff pretty small, but it's possible. And it's good. It's okay. Not everything's got to be geared to the top dogs. It's okay that a Boise State's got a chance or a Tulane or a Memphis and stuff like that. It's got some flicker of hope of saying, hey, we can get in. And so I like that. That's the only thing. The other ones, I mean, if you playing in a major conference, you can't get in the top 16. What are we doing?
So what drives me crazy, though, and it really does, is these people that preach what you just said. How we need to get one in, this or that. And they're the same people thinking that, well, Alabama and Auburn or whoever doesn't need to play. They only need to play Power 5 or Power 4. It's hard to keep up with. It changes every year. But they only can play those. They shouldn't pay these lesser schools.
Do you think Boise should have been in last year?
I had no trouble with Boise being in last year. I really didn't. I had some trouble with SMU and some of the Indiana.
Oh yeah, certainly SMU and Indiana
because of their
had bigger
records. Yeah, their strength of schedule. But and the reason I said that, there wouldn't be a Boise State, there wouldn't be a Florida State, there wouldn't be a TCU if these bigger schools didn't play them at the time, right? Because
that's what I like about the 8-game schedule. It's fine.
Because you look at Alabama, they're playing Florida State next year away, they're playing Wisconsin this year at home, and then they have 2 games where if they cut out all those games, all those schools won't have the money to have a football team.
I don't know if you know, but Kirk Cignetti is adopting an SEC schedule.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. He's adopted Vanderbilt's non-conference schedule.
Since we're just doing old guy ranting here.
Please.
Right. When they complain about the SEC always playing this, and they do, okay, November 20th, the Citadel shows up.
That's right.
Oh my God, they play again. Well, because they didn't play them earlier in the year.
That's right.
Okay, it's the same. Like they started their conference season a week before you guys did. Like, how hard is this?
When do you want your bye week? In early September or mid-November?
It's like sitting there complaining. The Steelers got a bye week this week. That's not true. Well, you had yours. Like, I mean, how dumb do we have to be? You play the same team. So what? Okay, if you want to do that, switch your thing. Anybody can do this. Oh my God. There's sometimes my head just hurts from this sport.
Yeah.
And so the Cignetti, I love Cignetti. He causes a stir, right?
Yeah.
He's got what I bet you guys said the words Indiana football 5 times in the previous 20 years. Okay, well, the guy should. And here we are talking about Indiana football. But
that's fair.
Come on. Because he's I'll just play nobody then. And he blames it on the SEC. Dude, you're not playing Virginia because you might lose. That's why.
Yeah, he's 100%.
Strategy, go for it. But
oh goodness. So what's next on the hit parade for you?
Yeah, who knows? I gotta reread this spreadsheet.
Yeah, sure. I didn't think I'd be leading off.
He might have to send a new one out. I don't know. I don't know what it says.
Well, I know I'm talking to the author of Death of the BCS, but I know we've talked in the past about even the computer rankings that they use for hockey were. Yep. I don't think it's a bad idea. And I did talk about this with Rich Clark last week on more transparency on how in the world even the selection process, which I know some of them are nominated through the conferences, but I'm talking about the individuals. I'd like to even see more transparency there.
Yeah, maybe a numbers guy. I think the committee's done a fine job through the years. You got to make a pick. You got to make a call at the end. The teams are hard to choose. Someone's got to do it. There's always going to be a choice. I've never seen a real problem with the committee. I think they're well-meaning people. They put in good work.
Yeah.
My thing would be don't do one every week. Just come in at the end. Every week thing. That's what I thought got Alabama last year. Like they were entrenched because they were ranked a certain number going in and then they didn't play.
I know I'm talking to Mr. ESPN right here, but that weekly show does more harm than good.
Well, the show is great, but it's not the ESPN's fault that they like put out the ranking.
I do like how basketball does it, where they come out the committee in alphabetical order in February says we like these teams.
Yeah,
and that's all they do.
Kind of funny because it's like, really, like Duke, no shit.
Yeah, it is a lot of the usual suspects
from Maine.
Yeah,
every time. Yeah, I like them also. Yeah, it's always kind of funny. They're like, we really like Kansas and Kentucky looking pretty good this year. Yeah, but yeah, I find the committee does a good job, and you know, if they want to go a computer, the computer chooses the field in college hockey, and then they have a little committee that seeds it. Now college hockey is a little different. They're in the 134 teams. They play more games, so it might work better. But it's actually fun because the moment you lose a game or win a game, they can instantly calculate your computer ranking. So it's almost like the game ends. You're like, you just moved up to number 9, and you dropped to 14, and like so it adds a little drama. It has its own little thing. I think that they're kind of a straw man is the committee. Committee's terrible. We got to do this or that. I don't know. Would I have picked Alabama over SMU? I don't know. Probably.
Is that because you're on in Alabama right now? Is that?
No,
be honest.
I'm gonna tell you.
Alabama
Come on now.
Losses. Like I can't get worked up and be like Alabama got cheated. Like they lost twice to 16. I mean, it's not
the Oklahoma loss.
Yeah, I mean,
Miami was great. Miami had an incredible offense. They're the number 1 pick in the draft. They were really, really good, but they blew it.
Yeah, they did.
And I'm okay with that. Like, were they better than SMU? Probably. Were they better than 4 or 5 teams in that thing? Yeah, probably. But they didn't get it done, and that's, I think, what we were talking about. You're on this tipping point where it no longer matters whether you lose the game.
Yeah, I don't like it. That's why I said 8.
When they went to Syracuse, it's a hard place to play, and they lost, and they didn't get in. And I like that.
Yeah.
Nothing against Miami. I just like that game mattered.
Well, they essentially made that a play-in game. I mean, if you really boil that down, I know it wasn't called a play-in. Yeah, I realize that, but it was more of a play-in game for Miami.
Play-out game for Miami.
Yeah,
that's how it should
that's
be.
a better play-out game.
Yeah, I like that.
Play-out game. You want every game to kind of matter. And
100%.
Tipping point.
Well, I didn't think Alabama should make the playoffs, but I knew SMU shouldn't have. I just think there are too many teams. Yeah. That's my point totally.
Right. And I'm not going to sit there and be like, if you make the case for Alabama, I'm not going to be like, you're crazy. You know, it's just the most ridiculous. No, I mean, whatever, right? But that's the point. Someone's got to make a case. And look, if Clemson doesn't hit this field goal at the last second, and that was kind of exciting.
Yeah,
that was a weird game because I pulled most of the game, pulling for SMU. Yeah.
And
he's a Dabo guy.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Dabo got you. Yeah, Dabo got you.
Yeah. There's so many Alabama connections on that staff you would not believe. It's unbelievable.
Every staff at this point.
Well, Signetti was the guy that recruited my son to Alabama.
That's an Alabama tie right there. That's why he's adopting the schedule.
Yeah. He's adopted Vanderbilt's non-season
All right, Dan. It's always great to hash things out, and that
we
was
solved the problem.
Yeah, that was clear as mud right there.
I hope they were listening.
See you guys.
See you. Always. And by the way, if you've been listening since the very beginning, yes, go follow Dan on Twitter. He does have a very entertaining Chuck E. Cheese reference there on his X account. Let's Houston Nutt going to join us at the top of the hour. Always entertaining. There is one Dan Wetzel. You can read his stuff at ESPN.com.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
It's an amazing time in our industry. Things are changing so rapidly. With digital signatures and workflow software, we help our customers work from anywhere. This helps you save time and money and upgrade your technology. Like I said, it's an amazing time to watch our customers grow and succeed.
Just ask anyone. The Liosi Group.
Hey there, everybody. Bob Baumhauer here, letting you know that we understand that times are tough and we truly believe value matters. So, by popular demand, we brought back our Inflation Bites menu featuring scratch-made meals that will make the whole family smile, and your wallet, too. Menu items start at just $7.99 and end.
Welcome back, as we are back here on The Drive here on a Thursday. A very entertaining conversation there with Dan Wetzel.
100%. Always is. I like his candor. Very interesting.
So, boy, in terms of some other audio that kind of stood out to me, for those that maybe just jumped into the car, one thing that did kind of stand out to me was Bill Belichick being asked about Dabo Swinney. I'll play the full cut right here, but at the very beginning it's worth hearing again.
Coach, left side towards the left. Sir, if you'll
left side towards the left. Got it.
Left side.
Hey, Coach, this is Grayson Mann with TigerNet.com. Talking to Dabo Swinney earlier, you said how much he's learned from you since you've made this move to North Carolina. How has your relationship with him grown, as well as the other coaches within the ACC?
Yeah, we're all learning from Dabo. That's very, very nice of him to say that. Very complimentary. Dabo's been a friend for a long time. We've scouted his players from the NFL down. Some of the players that are here today, I actually thought, maybe we'll draft him one of these guys. And now here we are going to be playing against him. So, but Dabo's been great. I have so much respect for him, the Clemson program.
It's a little bit there of Bill Belichick, but
that's the happiest I've ever heard him sound in front of. I guess because he has to recruit people now. Yes. He doesn't draft them.
Yes, he does. Dabo Swinney, I didn't realize how the consistency of winning for Dabo Swinney there at Clemson, but it's on full display.
Well, I think we've earned that through consistency. We
did something last year that only 4 teams in 160 years of college football have done. And, Nebraska did it with Coach Osborne, Coach Bowden at Florida State, Coach Saban at Alabama, and now Clemson. 14 straight 9+ win seasons, 13 of those 10+ win seasons. So, that we've earned that through consistency. And that's really for us what it's always been about, is just being incredibly consistent. We're not perfect, but we're incredibly consistent, but that's because we're purpose driven.
So that little nugget right in the middle, in case you missed that.
Nebraska did it with Coach Osborne, 160 years of college football have done. And that only 4 teams in 160 years of college football have done. And, Nebraska did it with Coach Osborne, Coach Bowden at Florida State, Coach Saban at Alabama, and now Clemson. 14 straight 9+ win seasons, 13 of those 10+ win seasons. So,
that's remarkable.
Yeah.
Some interim head coach taking over for Tommy West.
Well, his story, being hired at such a young age, then getting out of football,
mm-hmm.
and just loving it so much that he got getting the opportunity to come back and coach with Clemson, and then it ends up the head coach there. It's an unbelievable story. What's Clemson is you look at, for most of their football coaches, the majority have come from, not even close, have been from Alabama. Howard played with Coach Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
The Howard's Rock they touched. He was an Alabama guy. You had Charlie Pell,
yep,
Danny Ford.
That's right,
and Dabo. It's really incredible. And then you look at all the Alabama. You could go up and down their roster of the off the field, on the field coaches, and the majority of them either played or coached at Alabama before. It's unbelievable, really.
Yeah. No, that tie-in, pretty remarkable. Pretty remarkable. One thing that we didn't get a chance to really dive into was Coach Loxley earlier in the week at ACC Media Days. They all blend together. He mentioned about losing his locker room.
And I'll tell you, a year ago, Coach Locks lost his locker room. And for me to stand in front of a group of media and tell you that I lost my locker room, and it wasn't because I wasn't a good coach. It wasn't because they weren't good players, because we were better than a 4-win team. But what we had to do is we had haves and have-nots for the first time in our locker room. And the landscape of college football taught me a valuable lesson. And that valuable lesson is it's important for me, even in the midst of this change, to continue to educate our players on the importance of what playing for something bigger than yourself is all about. And I can tell you that if I've got to put my desk in the locker room this year, I will.
So that was towards the end of his opening statement. And to this reporter's credit, first question out of the gate, whatever I would have asked, immediately would have pivoted towards, and he did. And I wish I remembered the reporter's name, but the question was asked.
And when do you know the differences between being a coach and being a teacher when you having to manage so many different personalities within the locker room with yourself and your coaching staff?
Well, great question. And to be honest, there is no difference between being a coach and being a teacher, in my opinion. I've always tried, and this is why losing the locker room a year ago for me was really personal, because it's bigger than football, and it has been for me. I would have never dreamt of a kid that grew up in the South Side of Washington, D.C., having an opportunity to coach at the place as a kid I grew up rooting for and worshiping. I loved everything about Maryland. I still do. I enjoy the job I have. But I can tell you last year was tough on me as a coach, because for the first time, those really strong relationships were questioned, because I had to decide whether to pay a freshman coming in or take care of a veteran player that helped me go to 3 bowl games and have success and do something that hadn't been done in 130 years in the history of Maryland football. And it was hard to do both. And so what I've decided now is, if you come to Maryland and you look outside of our locker room, there's a sign. And that sign reads, you can leave your Louis belts your car keys and your financial statements outside of this locker room, because when you enter those doors, we'll all pay the same price for success or failure. And that's really important for me. And that's what last year was about for me. But that's also why I'm excited about this year, because I don't know what kind of team I have just yet, but I know that they're really talented. And it's a matter of them playing for something bigger than themselves, which we're in the process of developing that type of culture.
Well, I mean, first of all, I like Coach Locks. I think he did an awesome job at Alabama. He had Tua and all those quarterbacks all right in a row. And he had been doing a good job at Maryland. Full disclosure, Wesley coached there for a year and loved it. The only reason he left is his family really didn't like Washington, D.C., wanted to get somewhere a little smaller, and he had the opportunity to do it. All the defensive staff that was up there is now gone. I think that's hurt Locks, because Locks is the offensive guy. He's going to be fine on offense. He didn't have a very good success rate before. I mean, he was in New Mexico and didn't do very well. And I don't know how his longevity is going to be. I think it's an important year for him. I know this, that he has a great offensive mind, and he's a good guy. So I wish him well, but I think he's going to have a tough road to hoe.
That was a 4-win season last year, and we'll see what happens there at Maryland. But it's the pressures of winning. I mean, we can talk about it here with our next guest of the pressures of winning. And Coach Houston Nutt is kind enough to join us. And, Coach, every time we head over to Media Days, I'm always remembering some certain Media Days visits with you, sir, back in the day. Hope you're doing well today.
Man, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite Media Days moment, or did you dread Media Days, Coach?
Well, I've always liked it. It was you were ready by the end of it. You're ready to get back on that school plane and get home. But I loved it. I look forward to it because, boy, it's when that happened. It's very close, and practice getting ready to start, and you get a chance to talk about your team, your players, and it was always for the most part, it was fun.
Well, how much out of the spring really carried over to the fall from the teams that you were a head coach for?
Well, quite a bit. When you go back and we started, when you have the winter workout, and then you go spring football, and then the summers when the players were on their own, and there was a lot of carryover. The thing that's different now, when I go speak to teams, like a couple of years ago, I spoke to Rhett Lashley's team, SMU, and I said, I was speaking to him in August. I said, how'd spring, how'd everything go? Well, spring went good, but there's 31 players that didn't go through spring, brand new players. And so that difference of that portal of getting that team, that's what would be hard. That's the trick. And I know they got some experienced players, but again, it's new terminology. It's a new locker room. It's new chemistry. It's a new teammate. And so I'm always curious how that fits, how you get that going, because to me, the closest team, the team that's the closest, the team that's the most unselfish, the team that plays for one another. I always remember our team that had that good leadership that didn't care who got the credit and were together and close. Those were our best teams.
And I mean, hearing from the coaches in particular, we just got through hearing from Coach Loxley from earlier in the week saying that he lost his locker room due to NIL on figuring out who to pay, not to play. These new challenges are it makes this even harder, Coach.
Well, you're exactly right. And that's why I brought that up. I could see where it's got to be a challenge now. And because everybody in that locker room, they know what everybody's making. And it's different where you don't, back in my time, we didn't have that, Now, we always wanted, I remember Coach Spurrier and Coach Rick and all the Coach Former, Nick Saban, we all wanted players to have money. And that's where it led up to that cost of attendance. And And then with SEC Opportunity Fund, we thought that was pretty good. But now when you have the individual, and there's only really, I see just a handful or less that are making the real big money. And then now it's your left guard or it's your fullback. Hey, where's my piece of the pie? And that's where those coaches will tell you, that's where you can lose that locker room, where they don't quite feel as important enough. I'm not making what he's making. I don't even get a crumb. And, you can have an attitude that just tears it up. And that to me is the trick. That's what's tough about coaching now.
And then keeping your locker room as well. We had, I think, a really insightful conversation with Jim Nagy last week, Coach. And he, of course, was with the Reese's Senior Bowl and now is the GM for Oklahoma, because if anything, I felt like there was more of an NFL mentality, because even every recruiting class is not equal, Coach, where you go portal heavy on certain years or recruit heavy in certain years. That this is, this is a difficult thing to get right.
Oh, it is. It is. It's a big time jigsaw puzzle. There's no question about that. I've gotten more calls the last 2 years from high school daddies that are really discouraged. When they feel like they're 10 years ago, they felt like their son probably would have had a much better chance of getting a scholarship. Where now everybody's into free agency. To get fixed quick, you go get older players. And, a lot of time that leaves out that high school young man that you develop. The part that I feel really bad about is the development. That's one of the things that was a joy as a coach, was the development, where you see players that come in as a little baby boy, and then you look up his redshirt sophomore year. Whoa. The way you fed him, the way you trained him, he's done turned into a man. He went from trying to find his locker, then all of a sudden now he's the leading tackler, and he's showing the freshmen. That's what's fun about this. It's one of the greatest games in the world, but it's those things that to me, I can see where you miss out on.
Who are some guys like that? Anybody stand out? It sounds like you're thinking about a few guys.
Oh yeah. Well, one that comes to mind was Jason Peters, who, had 21 years in the NFL, and here's a guy that was a defensive lineman out of high school and got discouraged early on.
Wow.
And I remember going to his room and said, "Hey, we're gonna make a switch here, buddy. You're gonna go to tight end." And tight end, I said, "I've seen you catch the ball. I've seen you on the basketball court. Things just didn't happen for you at defensive tackle, so you're coming over. And if you look at a year and a half span of what he did next to Sean Andrews, holy cow, they were something special, man." And the guy, it really still, he wasn't. I think he was a free agent or a late round pick. I think he's free agent, and then he stayed the longest. He just retired, and is working in the front office for Seattle Seahawks. But
he was undrafted, Coach.
Yeah, undrafted. I thought that's right. And so there's so many stories like that where guys really, they hang in there, they persevere, and that's, to me, is one of the greatest lessons there is in football. Hey, it's okay to get knocked down. That's not the sin. The sin is if you stay down and you give up. But see, we live in a world where now, you yelled at me, I'm going to put my name in the transfer portal. Things aren't going right in this scrimmage, I'm going to put my name in the transfer portal. I just can't stand that. I've helped a lot of people transfer. I mean, sometimes it's for the good, to try to help because they want to play. I understand that. But sometimes also it's too quick to move too quick from something that's not going to. Hang in there and keep going and keep fighting. And I can't tell you how many emails and letters I've gotten in the last 15 years on, "Hey, Coach, remember the days at Murray State?" Well, I kept fighting. I'm the businessman that I am now because of those 2 days, because of those 4 years at Murray State, and whether it be Boise State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, there's examples like that.
Coach, do you feel in the this current environment we have ourselves in that you talk about how some guys leave too early. And what I think ought to happen, especially if it's a smaller school, not a Power 5 school, but maybe a smaller school, and they spend 2 years developing this kid, spend their time, treasure, feed him. He goes to school, keep him eligible, gets bigger and better. Then he transfers to Alabama or LSU. Don't you think there should be a way to compensate the smaller schools?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure every smaller school would say amen on that statement. There's no doubt about it. And, that's just, it goes back to what we're talking about. The smaller schools, and I have a special place in my heart for teams like Murray State. And I know there's a lot of bigger schools that want to eliminate. They just want to keep just play big games. But because of being able to play, Murray State being able to play those big games, it keeps their program going. It also pays for women's sports. It takes care of the budget. So naturally, there's a lot of ADs at some smaller schools and football coaches would say, absolutely, we trained this guy, we raised this guy, we got him ready for you. We can't keep him here. You go and nab him. Hey, how about throwing us a crumb back here?
I mean, it's really not a bad thought. And
no, it is.
I realize you're there in the state of Texas, and we were not in Big D last week, but boy, Texas once again is the high expectations. And how good do we know? Do you have a feel on how good Arch Manning potentially is going to be this fall, Coach?
Just for what I've seen, I've seen him play last year, the games he got in last year. The one thing is his DNA, starting with his grandfather, Archie Manning. Such a great man, and I hear they have a great relationship, and that's neat to hear, where they text and communicate a lot. And he's got an uncle, and he got daddies, and he's just grown up with a football, in his hand. So there's to me, he has this inner thing. He has it. And what I mean by that is he understands the game. And when a guy can move, I think it benefits everybody when he can extend the play and you can throw with accuracy and take care of the ball. It just, I think the sky's the limit, and it looks like the way he handled, I'm always curious how they handle media. He handled media very well, and pretty calm guy, that can handle pressure. And so I look for him to, when you got a supporting cast, the way they're recruiting, Coach Sarkisian's done a great job of with the talent pool that's there. I'm expecting big things. So again, I don't know teams like I used to, guys. When we come in here, last 4 or 5 years when I came on your program, I felt like, hey, ask me anything. Now I'm saying, hey, don't ask me anything about these rosters, man, because I don't know, brother.
Well,
I'm too busy chasing 3 grandsons right now, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, I feel like you have to know Texas if you just live in the state there, Coach. That's why. Yeah, it's
what I read, but what I mean is usually I remember when I worked for CBS for those 11 years, I usually had a pretty good feel, especially in the SEC and Texas, of who's coming back, who's going to, the probable starters, who all they have coming back, who left early for draft. Well, I don't know the 27 new transfer. I don't know the 31 new players and where all they came from, what all they did. I have no idea. And so that's what always makes this season like last year. I'm real curious when I turn on that TV and get these starting lineups. Okay, where's he from? Okay, he played there for 2 years, transferred in, and so you're looking at all the new faces, new names, and you're curious how it gels. So we're in a different world.
Yeah, I realize you're not following it as closely, Coach, but I will tell you, with the lack of spring games that we had this spring, this is as lost as I've been in quite some time. And it's not as if I had a huge roadmap in the first place, Coach.
Exactly. I think more and more of that's coming, and it's just hard to believe. I can't fathom you saying that, hey, not very many spring games, because that's always, been a big part, especially for the guys that you knew the ones coming back, but it was the guy that was on the scout team all year. That was what was always important to me. You got a guy who worked real hard, and he gave us a look, and he was on scout team all year long. Now it's his time, and that's what that spring was for, And then especially if, just like Arch Manning, when a guy, Quinn Hughes, leaves, now it's this is his baby now. How'd it go with him on every rep? He's getting the majority of the reps. How'd that go? And so, it's just different.
Yeah. Would you get into coaching now?
Well, I tell you what, that window looks like it's really shut right now.
Oh, no. I mean, if you were just starting coaching now, would you want to get into coaching now?
Well, it's hard to say no because if you coach, to me, it's a calling. It's inside of you. You want to coach.
Yeah.
And so that's different. Yeah, if you're starting right now, yes, you want to do it. There's no question about it. And you adjust, and coaching is can be one of the greatest professions there is, but it's also very, very tough. What I'm seeing as I look at the landscape, I see very little time for an assistant coach to be with family. And I see a lot of recruiting that goes on year round, man. They come in. Hey, I've noticed there's been a couple of conversations I've had with coaches. He had to come in off vacation because a guy was going to come visit. This is the only time he could visit. So he had to leave his family and go to campus. And that just, to me, is just that makes it hard. There's no windows of we always felt like, okay, this is the time where we're recruiting. This is the time that we got vacation with family. You don't get that much. So it's a year-round job now, man.
It's also year-round to follow this thing as well, Coach. It's
yes, absolutely.
I keep waiting for a down cycle, and there's not one. There really isn't. And I think that is hearing from a lot of the coaches, be it down on the beach during spring meetings or last week. It feels, but they're a little more divided than I thought they'd be, Coach. The only unifying thing is one transfer portal period, and I think that needs to happen.
That needs to happen, and I think also there's some more guardrails. To me, the transferring, I get it, a one-time transfer, but the multiple transfers that really get me, the 3-time, the 4 times, I just shake my head on that one now, because you don't ever need senior day. You don't need senior day anymore if you're going to have 3 or 4. So you don't know what school, you don't know what alma mater you really, you go out there for senior day. How can you say this is my senior day? You've been to 4 schools. And so I don't know. I wish they'd do it one time. You get one transfer, and then after that, hey, you got to lay out. It just transferring each year blows my mind. And the other thing I don't hear about no more, and we talked about it every Monday. Every school I've been to is APR, academic progress rate. I don't hear much about that anymore.
I talk about all that all the time, Coach. That. And protecting the players, right, through all 16 games.
Yeah, playing too many games. Playing too many games. I haven't heard of that either, Coach.
No. And there's going to be more coming, looks like.
Yeah, it feels that, especially the Big Ten wanting to do this 4-4, 3-2, whatever the lotto numbers are today kind of system.
Yeah,
I don't see that as a good thing for this sport.
No. It can be too many. I had one taste of playoff when I was at Murray State. And tell you what, man, even hitting that, I think it's like the 13th game. I think we didn't even get to 14 or 15, but even the 13th game, you got a couple of injuries here or there.
Yeah, you were 11-2 back in '96, Coach.
Yeah. So that was you hit that 13th game and you got a couple of injuries. Boy, that's a tough. It's just survival. Who's going to stay the healthiest?
Yeah.
And it's not easy. That grind of week in, week out, and especially when you get over that 12th game. You hit 13, 14, 15, man.
Well,
that is a grind.
Dan Lanning had an idea that he told Yahoo Sports that instead of that long layoff, when you're done and you've got that 2.5, almost 3 week layoff before, be it the bowl game or your playoff, whatever the case may be, to jump right in, to not have a break, much like what you were describing there and back in the 1AA days when you just jump right in rather than a long layoff. What do you think about that, having gone through it?
Yeah, I like that. If the number of games, the way they are, I like that. I like that. Now, I also hear, I hear from the bowl people. I talk to a lot of the Cotton Bowl people, and they're getting to the point where they miss their week long. The bowl was a week long, and they were great at it. I mean, they took care of players, the coaches' wives, the children. It was awesome. And more now you get less and less time at the bowl games. And that I was hearing those discussions. And so they have concern on that. They're losing their deal. But I'm with Coach Lanning on this. If you're going to keep adding these games in this tournament at the end of the season, that waiting deal is that's a tough deal now. That you might as well go ahead and go. Just play.
Well, I mean, you're the best person to talk about it because you've been through it a couple of times there at Murray State. So, and the way this is going, it feels like that is a real probability where even that Army-Navy weekend, which we had as Army-Navy weekend, that could be going away.
Yeah. Well, what's tough is, your schedules now, I'm bringing back academics, so that's what they always used to talk to me about.
Oh, yeah, finals. Yeah.
What about the finals?
Yeah.
Well, when are you going to put that in there? How are they going to get ready for that? So you got a lot of scheduling conflicts in there that you got to sit down and really talk about. So I don't know. It's interesting. I got my popcorn and Coke on the side. I'm watching. I'm waiting to see how this turns out.
Who's the one team or two teams that you're most intrigued to watch this fall, Coach?
Well, you mentioned Texas. I'm anxious to see how they do with Archie Manning, Arch Manning, and I'm curious. Alabama, Georgia, all the teams, I'm familiar with. The Arkansas, the LSU's, Ole Miss, all these teams. I'm real curious what they do now with the free agency, the portals. Who's their guy? There's a lot of quarterbacks that are being replaced. That are gone. They lost their quarterback. And besides South Carolina, I mean, Coach Beamer's done a good job. I'm anxious to see how they do.
Yeah.
And then the Big Ten with Ohio State, how will they come back from, being now they're the defending national champions. How are they going to do when they have to replace the several key guys? So
and coaches.
It's just and coaches. And that's always hard too when you lose coordinators, you lose coaches, a certain spot that hurts more than people realize.
I thought another name that from earlier in our conversation, other than Jason Peters, may be like a Brandon Burlsworth and I realize that stirs up a lot of emotion there for a lot of people, but his story is just unlike any other.
It really is. It's a tremendous story, and this guy, you talking about, we use the word development. You wouldn't, you saw him as junior in high school and senior in high school. I know his high school coach very well, Tommy Tice, and he can tell you this guy had one goal, and he got two small offers, but he wanted to be an Arkansas Razorback, and his story is phenomenal. I had the privilege to coach him his senior year when they already had him ready. Danny Ford recruited him. Mike Bender coached him, and man, he was something. And I never will forget him coming to me after the first team meeting or second team meeting in his shy kind of way at 6'4", about 320. And he said, Coach, my teammates and I are willing to do anything you want us to do. We just don't want you to have the mindset of being a rebuilding year. and they were coming off 4-7 and 4-7, and he basically was telling me, "Hey, let's go try to really do something this year." And so I told the coaches after that meeting, I went back. I said, "Hey, we got something special here with Brandon Burlsworth. His mindset is, they really want to win, and they're willing to work and sacrifice. You see how hard they work, and they invested. And don't ever use the word rebuild around him now." And he gave it his all, boy, and he did everything the right way, even when nobody was looking.
Yeah, even if someone is wearing 77, at least I think about it. I mean,
yeah,
hard not to.
So, Coach, how does Arkansas get back to where you had them?
Well, they got to do a great job with of course the portal and then recruiting. I don't like when I hear so many people are leaving the state of Arkansas. I hate that.
Yeah, that's real.
That used to keep me up at night. When I just lose one, I couldn't even sleep. But to lose that many, I don't like that. But when you have Taylor Green, when you have a quarterback that's coming back, again, it makes you sleep a little bit better. This guy can move. He can run.
He's pretty.
Got to get better at passing.
That's schedule, though.
Yeah.
That's schedule.
Yeah. That schedule's tough. But the thing that would help is they can't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And, look at Oklahoma State game in Stillwater. I was at that game and really dominated the game the first half. But then you came right out and you turned it over. Probably got a little bit impatient, and then you look up and you get beat, and then Oklahoma State doesn't win another game.
Yeah, that was hard. I watched that game.
Oh my god!
And they had
that was a tough watch.
Yeah, it's like whatever he said to him at halftime, he needed to put that in the back pocket and lose it.
Yeah, right. Well, I tell you, and if you win that game, all of a sudden, if you go back and you win that game, that confidence is different.
Yeah.
And not here we go again kind of attitude, but no, that's different now. And then you probably could have won 8 games, and then you build off that. So I just think, y'all all know. I mean, it's the most precious thing you have. It's the ball, and quarterback's got to be the difference maker, be able to distribute the ball to these guys and take care of it. And then the defense has got to stop, the run. They've got to stop the run and don't give up those big plays. And if you do that and have a special team, get to the fourth quarter. And that's what's important. So it's not easy when you're in the toughest league in America. And I tell you, they got you got to win that first one. I think it's Alabama A&M. They should win that one. And then they're better than Arkansas State. Man, now this is the first. Coach Broyles never did want to play Arkansas State. He just wanted everybody in the state of Arkansas to talk about the Razorbacks only. But this will be Arkansas State Super Bowl now.
That's in Little Rock.
That's in Little Rock. It will be their Super Bowl, and so that'll be one to keep your eye on.
Yeah, that's Butch Jones' squad over there.
And Loho Waste will be watching the game.
Boy.
No
Loho.
question.
Oh goodness! Oh my goodness! Yes. So it'll be interesting.
Coach, enjoy grandkids. How many grandkids you got now?
Just got number 3 into the world. Number 3, 4, 2, and 3 days old.
Outstanding.
Congratulations, Coach. That's awesome.
Enjoy, and we always appreciate the time you give us, Coach.
You bet. Thank y'all.
That is Coach Houston Nutt joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. So,
Larry Lacewell.
Yeah, boy. I replayed one of those conversations July 4th week and got a couple of good feedback from people enjoying that conversation that we had with Lowell. Wish we had more conversations.
Yes, I know. It was funny, dude.
So, you good over there? Are we all right over there? You've been in the.
The hamster fell out of the cage.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
We've with the
I don't know if
days,
back in the cage.
No. I sent Steve. Steve asked for an update a minute ago, and I sent him a GIF of a hamster running a cage and trips, and the wheel just flips him around.
Yeah.
So that is a good visual of what's going on. I am able to go to commercial, and we have our conversation with Tony Barnhart ready to go for your listening enjoyment. We can do that, and then we'll listen to Paul Feinbaum starting at 7.
All right.
We can make that happen. And we're going to put our heads together and figure out what's going on.
So,
nowhere near the telephone pole going down the other day. But
it's been a week.
We're going to call the witch doctor. We're going to call the witch doctor for some IT magic over here.
All right.
And see what happens.
My conversation, Tony Barnhart and I kind of reminisced a little bit. I did talk quite a bit about my time driving Larry Munson back and forth to Atlanta for Bulldog Hotline, as well as a few other notables, as well as that time in the early 80s when we thought Vince Dooley was going to be the Auburn head football coach and Pat Dye was going to be the Georgia head football coach. That conversation is coming up.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton for Tellini's Italiano. Tellini's Italiano is located right in front of the Walmart, right off of University, behind the McDonald's. More or less catty corner from Topgolf. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and if you go there, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to try the baked spaghetti, add a meatball. Also try the baked ziti with meat sauce, add sausage. You'll thank me. Save room for some pizzas and paninis as well. And don't forget about dessert as well. The best cheesecake I have had here in North Alabama is at Tellini's Italiano. Find out for yourself today. That's Tellini's Italiano, right off of University Drive in front of the Walmart. Located online at Tellinis.com. That's TELLINIS.com. Let's get some Tellini's tonight.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event at Woody Anderson Ford. Hey folks, Bobby White back again, and I'm here to tell you now is the time to get the Ford you've been thinking about. From 0 down leases to 0% financing, we've got it going on this summer. Woody Anderson Ford has financing as low as 0% for 48 months, plus 0 down payment, plus 0 payments for 90 days, plus 2-year 25,000-mile complimentary maintenance. You can choose a 2025 Escape, F-150, Explorer, or a Mustang. Or how about 0 down lease, $499 a month for a 2025 Explorer, F-150, or Bronco, and just $399 a month for Bronco Sport, Mustang, and Escape. Again, these are 0 down with complimentary maintenance too. This is a 36-month lease with 0 down, 0 security deposit, just tax, tag, title, and your good credit. These offers end 9/2/25. It's our Woody Anderson Ford Summer Sales Event, so hurry on down. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. You know it's hot outside, so cool down with an upright or chest freezer in stock at Owen Home Appliance Center. And don't let those beverages get hot. Get an under-counter ice machine with a built-in pump for just $12.99. Or how about a fridge out by the pool or in the garage for extra cold drinks? You can get a scratch and dent 18 cubic foot refrigerator for just $349 while supplies last. Go to OwenAppliance.com to learn more. That's OwenAppliance.com. You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen. A quiet night with temperatures falling into the mid-70s. Heading into Friday, though, we'll see scattered showers and thunderstorms return to the forecast in the afternoon. Otherwise, expect to see mostly sunshine. High temperatures once again warming into the low 90s with heat index values reaching the lower 100s.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And now, a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Time now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
But that trick never worked.
Winding down this Thursday edition of The Drive, our final interview, at least my final interview that I recorded from last week at SEC Media Days. That's how we're going to close down this Thursday edition of The Drive. Had a chance to sit down and talk with Mr. College Football. It is his 50th year covering SEC football. It is Tony Barnhart. Mr. College Football. Goodness gracious. I've been doing this a minute, but minute and a half for you, sir. So it's always good to see you.
Well,
how are you, first and foremost?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about season number 50 and saying thank you to a whole lot of people, which I've been able to do in Atlanta, and for all the help they've given me all these years, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, what are you looking forward to most?
Really getting back to there's a lot of memories that you put together in about 50 years, and going back to campus and thanking people who are been very, very, very helpful. And a lot of, I'm looking to create some more memories, but I got a ton of memories already. And I'm going to be going to more games this year than I have in the last few years.
Okay.
To do that. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to those 3 games in Athens when Ole Miss and Texas and Alabama all go to Athens. That'll be a whole lot of fun. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good year in the SEC. A lot of really, really good teams. No, not sure we got a great team in this league, but a lot of really good teams.
Let's rewind a little bit. When you mentioned the likes of Alabama and Georgia, I can remember a conversation I had with Vince Dooley a while back before his passing on how big a certain win over Alabama was. You know exactly where I'm going.
1965.
Yes, sir.
Well, the book that I'm working on now that will come out hopefully late next year, I do an essay on each of the schools, each of the venues that I've been to. And when I looked around and said, what was the most important game that I saw in that building? And most people are too old to remember this, but 1965, Georgia's playing Alabama. Alabama's the defending national champions. Georgia trails 17-10. It's, as Larry Munson would say, it's getting late. And they had a trick play that they had put in. They called it the flea flicker. What it really was the old hook and lateral, where you throw a ball out in the flat, and usually the wide receiver or tight end catches it. The defense collapses on him, and he laterals to a trailing back, and it worked perfectly. Kirby Moore, who was the quarterback on that team, I talked to him. He said, we worked on it practice every single day. It never worked. It never worked. And then we get in the middle of this game and they call it. And I'm talking about, you got to be kidding. We're not going to run that play. It's never worked. They ran the play and it worked. And then Coach Dooley decided to go for 2 and win the game right there, and it worked.
How about that?
So it was his biggest win. He was only in his second year at Georgia, and so that is my Georgia chapter.
And I have heard, I heard from Barbara Dooley as well on even talking with Bear afterwards on the significance of that. And Bear basically saying, I made your man head coach.
That's right. That is exactly right. And that's what he had to build on. And what people don't know is that 2 weeks later, Georgia went to Michigan, played at Michigan.
Oh, really?
Defending Rose Bowl champions, played them in Ann Arbor and beat them.
Wow.
And then they returned home to the old Athens airport, and there were 10,000 people waiting on them when they got home. So that 3-week stretch with the wins over Alabama and Michigan really launched the 25 years of Vince Dooley.
And in terms of the passion, even back in the 60s, tell me about just the stadium. I mean, just the passion there of because I would assume people weren't expecting a Georgia win that day.
No, they weren't expecting a Georgia win that day. They had really gone through it. Wally Butts was there for 21 years, I want to say. Yeah. And Johnny Griffin came in and replaced him for 3 years, and the program went straight downhill. And so they were looking around for the best young assistant they could find. Joel Eves, who was the athletic director at Georgia, had been in the league as the basketball coach at Vanderbilt. And he had seen what Vince Dooley had done as the freshman coach at Georgia and did very, very well. And so they hired him, 31 years old when they hired him, and former Marine. And all of a sudden, Steve, anytime you bring a new coach in, there's got to be a moment where people go, oh, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And for Vince Dooley, it was beating Alabama and beating Michigan in a 3-week stretch.
So let's fast forward a few more years. I've had the good fortune of talking to Pat Dye quite a number of times and Vince Dooley a number of times when we thought there was going to be crisscross.
Yep, that's right.
But tell me from your perspective of how that all worked out right there, of Vince staying, and I'll shut up and let you talk.
Well, the situation was Georgia's getting ready to play Notre Dame for the national championship in 1980. Auburn's looking for a new coach and an athletic director. And they offered it to Coach Dooley, and he told me, and I was sitting in his home in Athens. He says, "Look, when your alma mater calls, you have to listen. Mama calls." And said, and I thought serious about it. And a lot of my friends from Auburn I went to school with said, "We need you, and they were set to go. And he took me to a room in his house where he has portraits of all of his All-American players. And he walked past that, and Barbara said, "This is your life on this wall right here. All the All-American players that you've had. I know it's, they met Auburn at Georgia. I mean, Barbara's was a Georgia student, Auburn student. Mm-hmm. And they just said, we can't leave all of this. And so decision was made. He came back to Georgia, won the national championship, and coached another 8 years.
But he took the job, did he not?
I think he had an understanding that he was coming.
Okay,
he was coming. Yeah, I believe that's the case. But it just wasn't. And Auburn eventually got the guy that they should have gotten all along. I mean, Pat Dye, they knew he was a rising star, and they knew what a great recruit he was, and so it all worked out.
And then I would say, I know I'm kind of skipping ahead, but to me, these are big, significant moments. Mm-hmm. And by all means, if I'm missing something, feel free to say, "Hey, Steve, you forgot this." But to me, another significant moment is Roy Kramer starting the SEC championship game there in Birmingham at the beginning. But I remember that first year of the coaches were not happy. The coaches were just fit to be tied.
I've done a bunch of these interviews, Steve, around Radio Row, and I just said the two most significant moments, I think, in the history of the SEC and to put us where we are today is Roy Kramer's decision to go to divisional play. He found the little known codicil in the Faber College bylaws, where if you had 12 teams, you could go to division, have a championship game. So he decided they were going to expand, obviously, at Arkansas and South Carolina. And I was in Destin when Coach Kramer told his football coaches, "Hey guys, guess what we're going to do?
Oh, please.
We're going to expand to 12 teams, and we're going to have a conference championship game. It's going to be great." He said, "Wait a minute." And the coaches went, "Wait a minute. You mean we got to win one more game to win the?" So they go into that meeting room in Destin at the Sandestin Hilton, and I was standing outside waiting for him to come out. The door opens, Kramer walks out, and there's Gene Stallings. And he saw me and made a beeline right to me because I had been writing about this all along that it was going to happen. And he looked at me and said, Tony, let me tell you one thing. All right, the SEC will never win another national championship. Well, who won? Not only did they win a national championship in the first year of expansion, Alabama won the national championship, and things seem to have turned out okay. And the other moment is Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier changed the SEC forever when he came in, because used to be if you scored 24 points a game and didn't do anything stupid in the special teams, you'd win. All right. Now, with Spurrier came, you're talking not 24 points a game, you're talking 31, 35 points a game to have a chance to win. And the key was everybody adapted to him. He didn't adapt to them, and he changed the course of the SEC forever.
Wow. Yeah, the 90s were so dominant there for the Florida Gators. Mm-hmm. And I remember this was my time with the Bulldog Radio Network, and how significant even the win over Florida was. What was that, 97? I think it was.
Oh, yeah. That was in the 11-1 stretch.
Yes.
Spurrier was only 11-1 against Georgia.
And being in that building there in 97, nobody was expecting that.
Nobody. What I will always remember, I was not only a writer for the AJC, I was an editor, and I was an editor on site. And halftime, when Georgia's got the lead, I called back to my desk in Atlanta. I said, guys, you know that game plan we had? Tear it up, because we're not going to use it. We're going to have a completely different plan. I said, because Georgia's going to win this game. They're playing better than Florida right now, and they're going to win the game. And I will never be on the field. I saw Coach Spurrier on the field, and he said, write it straight, Tony, because they just beat our ass. So never forget it.
The one thing I will never forget is being on the plane. I'm in the corner with Munson next to me, and then you've got Donnan's daughter next to him.
Tammy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Munson, as we're going down, says, hey, what if we're up by 20 in the fourth quarter? And she said, boy, that'd be nice. And then all of a sudden, I leaned over to Scott Howard and said, hey, Munson said, what if we're up by 20? And he reminded him, he was like, I was just joking.
Oh, man.
Tell me your best Munson story.
I miss him terribly.
I do, too.
Well, for when Larry swore to his sons that he would never, ever write a book. He read an article by Sean Connery who said, doing an autobiography is just a stupid thing to do. He said, I'm not going to do it. All of a sudden, I get a call from Michael Munson, says, Dad's changed his mind. He wants to do a book, and he wants you to do it. And obviously, I was thrilled and said yes immediately. And when we were putting the book together, I'd go see him about 3 times a week in Athens at his house and walk in. And I'm one of these organization freaks, and I go into that and I say, okay, here are the 10 things we're going to talk about today in the history of Larry Munson, and we get to like number 2, and he would go off on some tangent, and my wife would say, would you just stop him? No. Once Larry gets going, you got to let him go.
Yeah.
And so that was so much fun, and I'll never forget as we were ramping down the final interviews the last day. That was the day that was the year that Georgia had a home with Oklahoma State, and they were going to Oklahoma State. And so at the end, I'd never knocked on Larry's door. I just walked in. And he said, well, come on in. And he said, well, let me ask this. Where the hell is Oklahoma State? And how do you get there? And if you get there, how do you get back? He was, I miss him. I miss him terribly.
Well, I can tell you, I can vouch for a number of breaks that we blew through for Munson and Van Note here in Atlanta. And my PD at the time would walk up to me and say, hey, you can alter things. Take out a cart here, take out a cart there. But recording his Spotlight on Sports Sunday nights, he would always hit the 90. He would always hit but it was usually hunting stories,
right,
movie reviews, and rarely about sports.
Yep. It's
hunting stories in particular.
Hunting stories, absolutely.
But I mean, the voices of this conference. I mean, Jack Crystal, Forney.
Right.
I mean, we've had some legendary voices.
No question. And to be in Larry's house, what a lot of people don't know about Larry was as a teenager, he was a very accomplished piano player. And 1 year, and he played with little bands around Minneapolis and things like that. Then 1 year, Frank Sinatra was the Tommy Dorsey band was making their tour. They had a lead singer, some guy named Sinatra from Hoboken, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And they came through, and their piano player got the piano player got the flu. So they said, we got to find a piano player. I said, well, the kid Munson is not bad. So they went to him, and for a night, he backed up Frank Sinatra.
I wish I would have known that a lot.
Well, when you walk into his house, when Sinatra died, every artist who had ever performed with him at any level was sent a framed gold record because he played with Frank Sinatra, and that was hanging up in his kitchen. Very proud of that. So,
oh my God!
Well, he told these incredible. It's in the book. He told these incredible stories about traveling with these bands. He was the youngest guy on the bus, and there was always, they had the band and they had a lead female singer, the only woman on the bus. And they said, well, they got me to sit next to her. That way the hound dogs would leave her alone. Well, sort of. He said, you ever heard of Eugenie Baird? And she was a nice singer with a band all the time. Said, I sat on a bus for 12 hours next to Eugenie Baird going to Appleton, Wisconsin. It was the greatest 12 hours of my life.
I bet. So, wow. Wow. He was quite the character, and I miss him dear. He would actually review tapes. Because I asked Pete Van Wieren about getting into the broadcast world, and he said, heck, just go to a game and just bring a tape recorder and record it. And I would do that, and Larry would critique me during some drives when I would drive him in for Bulldog Hotline.
Right. Larry loved fishing, and he loved baseball. He loved both of those sports. People don't know this. Larry Munson got the radio job of doing the Georgia Bulldogs when he was driving down the West Palm to start working for the Atlanta Braves. He was passing through Athens, picked up a newspaper. Joel Eves says, I need a new radio guy because Ed Thelenius is going to the Atlanta Falcons. And so Munson had known Joel Eves from his work at Auburn. Called him and said, I want that job. And and Joel Eves he knew all about Larry, and he went into Dan McGill, the sports information director at the time, and says, we're hiring Larry Munson. And Coach McGill went, who? Larry Munson. Oh, okay. So, and that's how Larry Munson got the job in 25 years later.
So the other tie-in is we talked to Jerry Glanville a lot.
Right.
And the only other tie-in for Larry Munson is when I asked about Munson to Glanville, he just said, I can't take the negativity. I cannot take the negativity. And he would crop out maybe like 10 minutes for his pregame talk because he couldn't take the negativity.
Oh, goodness.
But that was Larry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And goodness gracious. And then the dominance moving forward of the Southeastern Conference it would be pockets here or there in the 60s, 70s, certainly with Alabama and what Auburn did in the 80s as well, and then Bama again in 92, but really sustained SEC dominance really started, 04, and just here we are.
And it really Commissioner Kramer actually enhanced the ability to win national championships because all of a sudden people would see this game on television and well, that's really cool. So some kid from Minnesota might want to go to Georgia because the chance to play in the SEC championship game. Well, I think it's interesting now everybody's got one, and everybody scoffed at the SEC, and you'll never win another national championship. And it turned out that it was a great marketing tool because Roy Kramer was one of the great visionaries, is one of the great visionaries you'll ever meet.
But he doesn't have the best reputation in Alabama. Because of a certain little tie-in with Philip Fulmer. Bama fans have a very long memory.
No.
Come on now. I know I'm not breaking news to you. So.
Oh, God. And think about this event.
Yeah.
Philip Fulmer, one year he gets his peanut, and so the next year, to avoid a subpoena, he does it by speakerphone. How about Nick Saban's dog getting out of the room and running down the aisle while his daddy is talking to the assembled media? You just don't get that in the Big Ten.
But here we are, Texas, and Oklahoma in the Southeastern Conference. It is amazing the growth of this conference.
Well, it is, but it's all been good. It's planned growth. It's intelligent growth to add Texas. They had Texas and Oklahoma, as Commissioner Sankey would say. They are members of contiguous states. They're all. We're not going all Big Ten on you by bringing in Oregon and Washington. We're not going to do that. So it's been smart growth, and the television contracts will reflect that, and it's going to be fun. And by the way, if we can get the Big Ten to get on board and not be stubborn, the 11-5 playoff model is going to be really popular. May not be popular in the Big Ten, but I think it's going to be real. Because now, if you had taken that model and applied it to last year, the SEC gets 6 out of 16, which ain't bad. So
no. And help me fill out my bracket or on my ballot this year. Who do you like to be here in December? This is I don't have a clue, because of how. Because the spring games. Who do you like?
Well, the thing about it is that this year is going to be a lot like last year. Last year there were a lot of really good teams in the SEC.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great team. There was not a great team in a national championship team. I think it'll be the same this year. I think there are a lot of really good teams. Georgia and Texas are the two most talented teams, but. Third, it's the gap to number 3 is not that big. I think Alabama's going to bounce back in a big way. I really do. With everything, you had to know if you followed football at all in your life, you knew the transition from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer was not going to be seamless. Okay, it just doesn't work that way. You don't replace that guy. You can come in and sit in the same chair if you want to, but you don't replace him. I think they'll bounce back. I think. For them to get Ryan Grubb back as their offensive coordinator. I was on campus not too long ago, and I said, is this really a big deal to get Grubb back on his staff? They said, it's a really big deal. And and Coach DeBoer talked about it in an offense and do the best they could, but they were missing a piece in their coaching staff.
So ultimately, who's your champion?
Texas. I think Texas is going to win the national championship. I think they're that good and that deep. Now they got to play Georgia and Athens, and that'll be one or two. You can get in the playoffs with 2 losses, so they'll be fine. Hard to see Texas going into Athens. That'll be a night game. The joint will be rocking in Athens, and so. But at the end of the day, I like what I see in Texas.
I know in our business we like to boil it down to one thing, but do you have a moment in a half years that is your favorite moment?
My Auburn chapter of the book, I've got all the chapters outlined. So the Auburn chapter is called The Tears of Patrick Fain Die. And this is about December 2nd, 1989, when Alabama finally went to Auburn and played. Bear Bryant said, we'll never play there as long as I'm alive. Well, guess what? He died in 1983. And that day was the most emotional day I've ever seen. I managed to sneak in, sort of get not exactly inside the Tiger Walk, but real close. And I was marching along with the players, and I saw grown men in their 40s and 50s crying. And I asked David Housel, I said, what's that about? He said, real simple. They were told they would never see this in their lifetime, and now it's happened. And that is of all the memories and moments I've had being a part of that. Wow. It was just it was just incredible. And by the way, Auburn won the game and knocked Alabama out of a shot at the national championship. And if you're an Auburn person, it doesn't get any better than that.
I've got a copy of Jim Fife's call, that entire broadcast, and we may accidentally play it week of Iron Bowl. There's a couple of during the pandemic, one of the blessings, I'll say, from a sports program director was the access to some older games. And you better believe I beelined to the 89 Iron Bowl and Jim Fife's call. I mean, it never gets old,
right.
but I'm sure Bama fans are probably shaking their fist at me right now. But, you could tell Jim was a fan.
Oh, yeah.
In his call.
Well, I've talked to Jim a lot. Miss him. Boy, do we miss him? But, he said he moved to the state of Alabama from Kentucky. He said, you're either born Auburn or you're born Alabama, and if you move in, you have to declare. And
he told me that exactly.
And that's what I did. And he loved Auburn.
Yes, he did. Well, love you too. And
thank you, partner.
It's been so much fun. Please don't be a stranger.
No,
I can't imagine doing this and not seeing you.
Well, my wife wants to call it the farewell tour, and I said, "Well, darling, I'm not dying. Okay," I said, I'll still be around, but I promised myself when I got in this business that I would sort of write my own exit strategy and a chance to do a final tour and say thank you to a lot of people who have helped me over the years. Seemed like a good, and finish that up with a book on the tail end of it. I just thought that was a nice way to sort of tie a bow around 50 years.
Thank you so much for the time, sir.
All right, sir. Take care.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.